I've noticed this with worship leaders. They struggle with their senses and sensuality. It's almost like the devil's exploiting something that was meant to be good.
Worship leaders were designed for intimacy. They were designed to be the ones closest to God. Being as sensitive that they are, there's revelation to the people that they can bring that maybe somebody else couldn't get.
Moses built the tabernacle according to the pattern that he saw. He had to see something in the spirit realm. There's already worship happening in heaven. We get to create a representation of what exists in eternity in this temporal dimension.
But really, worship leading is supposed to be priesthood. My prayer is that worship leaders in America will come to that place where it's important to look like Christ, and it's important to operate in the faculties of tending to the presence of God.
Spiritual Intelligence for Dummies, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Matt Kim, and this week we got another guest in the building. As a matter of fact, you know this guest because he's been on the channel before. And so this is our, I think, second recurring guest ever after Apostle Jordan. So I want to reintroduce you to our guest today, but I want to introduce him a little differently because last time he came on as my friend and mentee, but this time I want to introduce him to you as a worship director, worship leader, and just a worshiper of God. And so that's really where we want to zero in our conversation today. So I'm excited to reintroduce you to my friend, Joshua Eubanks, bro. Welcome to the show.
I am so glad to be back and to be the second recurring boss.
Yes, sir.
So it feels good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for bringing me back to talk worship. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't believe we didn't talk about the first episode.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to kind of set the foundation.
Yeah.
Still growing in some things. So, yeah.
For sure. Everything in order.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm really excited for this conversation. I'm excited for people to get to listen in on it because I think it's a very important topic. Matter of fact, it's an eternal topic.
Yeah.
It's an eternal topic. And, you and I were talking during lunch off camera just about worship and the worship movement. Kind of where things are at right now.
Yeah.
And we were just chatting it up and I was kind of sharing with you, I just really felt like based off of what's been out there and what wave we're coming off of, it almost feels like a little bit of a lull, but also kind of a vacuum with something's about to pop. It feels like God's about to really do something with the worship movement, globally speaking. And so maybe that's a good jumping off point. Where do you feel like the state of worship is at the moment? Just with the global church. You can be honest, bro. This crowd is no pressure. Don't clip this.
Yeah. The state of worship, that's a vast question. I would say, really depends on where you go.
Yeah.
Right. Here in America, we have a culture. Africa has a culture. Europe has a culture. There's different sounds coming from different places and different nationalities. And some of those sounds are dictated to and intertwined with culture.
Yeah.
Right. You see in Africa, a lot of power, a lot of, open demonstrations of the move of God, but open demonstrations of the kingdom of darkness. Right. And you see the music in the worship kind of reflects and speaks towards the culture. Heavy prayer, intercession, blended in with the expression of worship. And then in America, being a culture that's a lot more privileged, our viewpoint of God, our expression of God can sometimes be, I'm not gonna say awful, but us based consumerism. Yeah. Consumerism. We're in a capitalistic kind of setup here. So I think the state of worship in America, it's been, in my opinion, more in a state of entertainment, kind of conforming to a crowd of people, as opposed to, really the sacrificial aspect we're supposed to give to God, right? And I think worship in America has been just that, an expression. It's not been something that's seen day in and day out in life that then translates to an expression. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's my opening 2 cents, but I definitely think it's different. The expression of it is different based upon where you're at right now.
No, that's really good. I love that you connected it to culture too, because I think that's something we overlook. And that's something I had to learn going to the nations is sometimes the expression is different, but it's the same God.
Same God.
Same God.
Same God, same root, same or so like the expression, the proper expression of worship
Mm,
should have the same root, right? Like
mm,
the original word for worship, right? We know in the Hebrew, like shakal, right? It means like to be laid down.
mm.
That's a primitive root. So like there's nothing else intertwined in that.
Come on.
And so at the foundation of all true worship should be something being laid down
Whew.
or you being laid down, right? And so it's
That's
like that's the aspect I'm talking to, like versus the lifestyle of worship and
Mhm.
then the expression of worship. I feel like in America,
Mhm.
we highlight and put out the expression of worship.
Mhm.
We make music to make people feel good, to make the expression look good.
Yeah.
But in other countries where the expression does no good for you on a day-to-day basis,
Mm.
you have to walk in the lifestyle, of worship. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's an interesting scene over here.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And you make a really good point that like we've kind of conflated and reduced worship to just the expression in terms of like the musical side of worship,
Mm-hmm.
but the spiritual foundation of worship is much deeper.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk about that for a second? Like what are we missing? What are we getting wrong about worship today?
I mean, quite frankly, I think some of the like doors to the deep realms and encounters with God on a corporate level and on a personal level start at the foundational things. Like, and I think
Mm,
sacrifice is one of the biggest things that's missed.
mm.
America, because we are so privileged, we
Yeah.
have a lot of opportunity. The idea of sacrifice is harder to grasp,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think like people aren't willing to live their lives off the stage before they get on stage and try to really partake of this deep spiritual like technology and
Yes.
thing where sacrifice was the foundation of why it was called worship, right? So
Hmm.
I think that's a big part of it, right? Like I think like we want to present ourselves on stage and sing and get the crowd moving, make it feel good, and but we don't want to go home and do the things that really move God or please God
Mm.
outside of that. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So then is it the chicken or the egg? Meaning like they're not willing to do it at home, so obviously they're not going to carry that over into like corporate musical worship. Like where are they missing it? Like where's the missing link? Like why is it that they don't know that a Christian life in general is one of sacrifice? Like
Yeah,
what's going on?
man.
Why don't you just solve the world's problems? I'm just asking
Well, I
you.
said that's it. I can't. Yeah, I'm just one man. I just sing. I just love Jesus. Like, um, yeah. I mean, I think in general, like the message of America has kind of been one way towards who God is, right? Like,
Mm, mhm.
um,
Hmm.
at least so I came up and like, I'll just give an example. I came up like heavy word of faith, right?
Yeah.
So it was like the name it, claim it,
Mhm.
prosperity, grace
Yeah. Yep.
abounds. And we talked about grace a lot, right?
Mm,
Which was sometimes contorted,
mm,
to like live your life how you want and God's good with it because there's grace.
mhm, mhm.
But like we never really got into the standard and the requirements that God has for himself.
Jesus.
Like God is a God of order, right? And he's a God of excellence. The same God that will give you grace is the same God that will chastise you.
Mm,
And that's called love to him, right? Like
mhm.
that actually makes you more legitimate as a son. So
Wow.
I think that like there's so many different denominations, so many different theologies. All in all, like you see some cater to the lifestyles that we want to stay in,
Mm,
some conform to what we like.
mhm,
And then the messages that do tell the truth, that do talk about sacrifice, that talk about holiness, that talk about a standard, that talk
mm,
about a foundation, all these things that make up living a holy lifestyle,
mm.
being a reasonable sacrifice, your reasonable service, right?
Wow.
All these things that make that up, sometimes those messages are kind of pushed to the side because it doesn't fit our American narrative of
R-
comfort, right?
Right, right. No, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
I want to explore that grace topic a little more because I can even
Mm.
hear people saying right now. And by the way, we have like an array of audience, right? It's
Hmm.
pretty diverse and the spectrum ranges from people who are like really deep to people who are like hungry but they want more, right?
Yeah.
But I hear people asking right now, like, doesn't that sound more like legalism,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
There's a standard, it's excellence, holiness,
Mm.
and maybe they've experienced like the other end of that side, the extreme end of that side
Yeah.
of it, for them it was actually legalism. Like
Mm.
how do we reconcile that? Slash, what would you say to that as far as like maybe even like a clarifying definition of like what is grace And why is a standard even important? Why is it necessary?
Yeah. I've actually had this thought many times, right? Because like when you look at the Old Testament, and we're still talking about worship, right? Like it comes down to the lifestyle. When you look at the Old Testament and the standards that and the practices that were set up, that was defined as, hey, this is what I want in my tabernacle. This is what I want in my temple. This is what I consider acceptable to me. Versus the New Testament, right? It looks like two different things, right? But the Old Testament was nothing but a shadow of the New Testament.
That's right.
And so when we're talking about like legalism and grace, especially in the place of walking with God and being a living sacrifice and worship, the way that I learned to look at it was like these things that I would consider legal, like being holy, being righteous, um, giving a sacrifice to him daily, spending time with him. These things became like, these are the things that the Lord loves. These are the things that he enjoys. And this is what he asks for out of relationship. Right?
That's it. Yeah.
And so it's a little bit different than I have to do this. No, he's asking this from a relational aspect. It's like if you were married to somebody, because that's we are, right? Like we are considered the bride of Christ. In a relationship, there are things that you do that you don't have to do, but you feel strongly about doing because you know that it would bring pleasure to that other person.
Right.
Right. And so if you know that your wife likes coffee every morning and she's expressed it once or twice, you feel like I really want to make this coffee for you because I know that this is pleasing to you. And I want to be consistent in it because every chance I get, I want to bring pleasure to you.
Yeah.
And so if every day I have to make coffee to please, it doesn't mean that our relationship is a make or break thing off of this, but the depth of the relationship that we have now grows because of the level of consistency I've put towards it, towards something that you desire.
Yeah.
And so
that's so good.
I look at it like that with the Lord. Like when you get saved, like you come into salvation, we're new, creation, new creature. But there's such an opportunity to go deeper in God by loving on him and actually walking in the things that he says he loves on a day-to-day basis. And so like prayer every day isn't just about being more powerful, though that's great. Like it's also about hearing what he has to say. And I love to go to that place with him. And so I trained my mind to look at it more as invitation than like
law.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. I think you really like nailed it on the head. Like you reduce the problem down to like, do you have a relationship with God?
Pretty much.
Or have you just created another religion out of it?
Yeah.
Man, that's so good. Yeah, relationship. Honestly, that really I love that language for even worship. It's like it's a way of facilitating relationship.
Yes.
Man. So then let's talk about that. So like obviously our life isn't necessarily musical.
Yeah.
So we're not like relating to God by singing all day every day and everything breaks out in song like a flash mob.
Yeah.
So then like I would love to circle back around to the idea of like the lifestyle of worship. Like I don't know, like teach us about that. What is like, first of all, like where does that come from? Let's start there. Yeah.
Well, the lifestyle of worship, man, you give like vast topics and then you gotta like narrow it down. But I would say like you can look at Jesus as the prime example of what a lifestyle of worship looks like. First and foremost, and even the story of Abraham and Isaac, right, where we see the first picture of worship in the Old Testament. It starts with obedience, right?
Yeah.
And his obedience led him to sacrifice. Same with Jesus. He was obedient until the point of death, right? So his obedience led him to the ultimate sacrifice here on earth. And so I think the lifestyle of worship first starts with submission, aligning yourself to what the will of God is and to what the word of God says. And not only aligning, but falling in love with it, right? Like David was an example of somebody who fell in love with the law, not just followed the law, right?
That's crazy.
And so like when you fall in love with the law, you then it brings you to a place where you're able to walk, as Jesus said, like if you love me, you would keep my commandments, right? Like that's a love language for him, right?
Come on.
And so like you really have to, okay, I love to do what you say, God. And that's not easy. I'm not saying like, because like I was actually driving, I was driving and praying today, talking to the Lord, and I said, God, like being in relationship with you is risky. Like being in relationship with you, Jesus, is unpredictable. It's you, because I love you so much. I want to do what you ask me to do at all times.
Yeah.
But sometimes what you ask me to do, it's not comfortable,
Mm-mm.
you know.
Mm. Jesus.
But that's the kind of love that he wants, right?
Wow.
Sacrificial love. So I think it starts with obedience.
Yeah.
I think falling in love with his words, his instructions. After that is next. And to be honest, he'll lead you to being a sacrifice.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
if you obey enough. So, I think that pattern kind of encompasses at least the foundational premise of a lifestyle of worship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically like when you see worship leaders
Mm.
who lead, in big corporate settings,
Yeah.
those people who live that lifestyle
Yeah.
and walk according to those ways, you typically see the impact in the room that they have.
Yeah.
And typically people are able to have encounters because of the realm that they walk in.
That's so good.
So I put a bow on that type of answer right there.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I honestly, that's a great segue because like being a worship leader or any kind of leader for that matter,
Mhm.
it's like living a lifestyle of worship is almost like a prerequisite to being able to take someone into a place because like
Yeah.
if you haven't been there,
Right.
you really can't lean anybody there.
No.
And so if you're not living a life set apart,
Yeah.
devoted to God, and I love that like you gave that definition for worship being to lay down, like prostrate. You're just
Mhm.
debasing yourself.
Yeah.
Like if that's the start of worship, then that should be what is continued throughout
Correct.
whatever gets started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like how you start one thing is how you're gonna finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think that's such an important thing. And maybe that's like even to the root of our earlier conversation, that's probably why the worship in the West looks the way that it does,
Yeah.
is because our start is really ourselves. Like we're
Yeah.
asking God to be okay with us being the way we are.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
I was literally gonna say
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's the temptation we're seeing right now, and the fight that you see, like so many people bowing down on stage, but really they're standing up in their hearts, right?
Jesus.
So like, I was gonna say the temptation is in order to live a lifestyle of worship and then to even lead people in worship, right? It has to be from a laid down position,
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
Humility is one of the greatest weapons to a worship leader,
Mm.
and somebody who's leading people in the congregation of worship.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to sit with the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
allow him to search you. This is why, again, David, he was called a man after God's own heart. There's many times where he tells the Lord to search me,
Mm-hmm.
know my thoughts, test me, know my heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gift and the ability to lay down and be humble about where you are in the expression of worship as a leader, or even in your lifestyle, will always lead you further into him, right? I know this kind of buzzwordy, leads you further into him, but bring you closer into a relationship. Yeah.
Claim it back from these lukewarm Christians.
I just want to swim in his sovereignty, I heard somebody say that today. Sorry. Side note.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was like Instagram where it was like, let's just swim in his sovereignty.
That's hilarious. That's how you go to hell.
Pretty much. Yeah, just swim in his sovereignty. But yeah, man, that's the topic, kind of like about being laid down. So
Yeah.
man,
this is really good. We had an interesting conversation earlier that I think I want to open up a little bit because we were talking about like the sound of worship,
mm-hmm.
like having to do with like the quality of it, the emotion of it, like what's inside of like the music that we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's very deep to me. Like could you talk more about that in terms of like what kind of sounds are we seeing now? And obviously like you brought up the interesting aspect of culture.
Yeah.
Like culture is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So then like I don't know. Like I don't know how to like direct this question. Like, do you have any like burdens on your heart pertaining to those things? Because like you are someone who's, first of all, like you produce music. So like sonically, like you have a certain like level of excellence.
Yeah.
But also I think a level of understanding. And the conversation I see a lot in the Western church, but also in the charismatic stream is like just the dichotomy. There's two camps. Like there's a camp that like loves the production of worship.
Yeah.
But then there's also the camp that like doesn't give two rips about production.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm anointed and prophetic and we're gonna flow. Like
yeah.
So like how do you feel about that?
I think that both are necessary.
Yes.
Skill does not I'm sorry, being anointed, right? Being gifted does not negate the need to be skillful. And typically your skill set will take you places, right? Will get you in front of people that then your anointing can be displayed. Right. And
That's
so
good.
there are certain people where if you don't have a certain level of skill, you'll never get in front of certain platforms. That's just how society is.
Yes. That's
And
deep.
so, yeah, I mean, there's been times where even myself, I've had to correct myself because your skill level can be a distraction to the anointing. It absolutely can.
Yeah.
And it's not for everyone. You could have fasted and prayed, but if you're flat the whole song, I mean, it makes it hard for
It's offensive to the ear.
it makes it hard for the corporate body to come in, together in unity. And
Right.
so I definitely think skill is needed with being anointed. However, in the Western society, I do think we have put a hyper emphasis on skill and presentation over the ancient need to be anointed and to be gifted, right? And then that goes back to the why of worship. What is the point in a corporate gathering if we need smoke screens, lights, we need auto tune just to capture people, then we're misaimed and we're misaligned on why we're gathering in the first place. Um, in the Old Testament, when they built the temple, when Solomon built the temple, all the priests came together. It was around the feast time. And the Bible says that, they sacrificed so many animals, they lost count, right?
Yeah.
And then it says that the priest lifted up one sound in unity, and the glory of God, the Shekinah, fell, right? And nobody could stand. Nobody could do what they were supposed to do. That sounds like a good time, right?
Dude.
Man,
I'm about to go up.
Just to be sloshed in glory.
The glory. Yeah. That's gotta be a shirt.
Yeah, sloshed in the glory.
Yeah.
I don't, it's cool because that picture of the building of the temple, David had provided the supplies, most of it, prior to his death. And there was a level of excellence that went into the building and the presentation of that temple, right? And so that tells me, okay, the presentation of worship does matter, right? And it's not just in the presentation itself, it's in what God is asking for.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So those things were in the temple because they were asked to be placed in there by the Lord, right? David did go a little overboard, and not in a bad way. He did more than what God asked, and that moved God, right? Even to the point where I was telling you earlier, he says, it moves me that you would ask to build a house for me. But what we see a lot right now is the presentation is not because God asked for it. It's because we're trying to move people and we're not trying to move God.
Jesus.
Right? And so you have to look at, what does God ask me to present? Right.
Yeah.
And if the first thing you're thinking of is the exterior components of lights, camera, action, and not this because really that temple was a foreshadow of this temple. Right.
Come on.
that dressing up and the glory of God and
it's a type, it's a shadow.
It's a type and a shadow, right? And so really what should be prepared more in terms of leading corporate worship or leading people into worship or as a worship leader is what's on the inside of here, right?
That's crazy. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's you could even equate that just practically is when you look at someone worshiping and you start to judge them based off of what they are or aren't doing.
Yeah.
You're already off.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Focusing on the wrong thing.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. That's so good. That reminds me of that verse in Hebrews where the author talks about Moses building the tabernacle, which was a type. It was a shadow of a shadow.
Right.
It was the prototype. Right? It was a prototype. And what I love is he says that Moses built the tabernacle according to the pattern that he saw. Yeah. And so I always say it's okay, clearly the tabernacle doesn't exist yet because Moses is called to build it. So if there's nothing physical to look at, what pattern did he see? Yeah. He had to see something in the spirit realm. Yeah, 100%. So he had to receive a blueprint from God. Yeah. And he built according to it so that there's a representation of what exists in heaven on the earth. Yes. And I think that's what people don't realize about worship is that there's already worship happening in heaven.
It has.
There's worship around the throne,
Yeah.
and it's been going on for eternity.
Mhm.
And what we get to do is we get to create a structure and a representation
Yes.
of what exists in eternity
Mhm.
in this temporal dimension.
Yeah.
And so it's way deeper. And I think this might even, I didn't expect to go take this turn, but this might go into the apostolic
Mhm.
function of worship.
Yes.
Because there is an apostolic dimension to worship.
Yeah.
Because quite literally, you're actually changing your environment, even like on a spiritual level,
Yeah.
based off of a pattern.
Yeah.
Based off of what's in heaven.
100%.
Like, could you speak to that?
Yeah, and the thought that came to me was culture, right? Like
Oof.
apostles and the
Come on.
apostolic is meant to establish culture, and that culture is the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
Here on earth, wherever they go.
Yes.
And so, like, when I think about as a worship in the apostolic component, that is a big piece of getting God to enter into an environment because it reflects what's in heaven, right? And I think that, like, that's the part that's missed a lot is, like, this is a building thing and this is a culture thing. God's desire, even in worship, is that the culture here on earth would be reflected from what is in heaven and what is happening in eternity. And so I definitely think like there's an apostolic component to it, but the apostolic is it's like a bad word.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a bad word. We
apostolic?
Yeah. It's like a bad word, you know. We love prophets and we love pastors. You say the apostolic, it gets rough because also too, like the culture of heaven in the place of worship causes you to lay down and conform to, or to, I want to say deconform to the patterns of this earth, right?
That's right.
So that's when we get into talking about sacrifice. That's where we get into talk about laying down. That's where, like in heaven, one word is being sang back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? Like holy, holy. Imagine if in a service we just sang holy the whole time. You'd want to go to the next song.
People would be bored.
They'd be bored. They don't have the capacity or the depth to recognize that like God is so vast, right? That every holy is a different revelation.
Come on. Yes.
It's coming,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think like the apostolic component, you know, is definitely something that's missing within the worship leader, the ability to bring the culture of heaven into a room. And that culture, right? Like your almost want to say like the essence of that culture is found in your secret time, right? Like it's found off the stage.
Yeah.
And then you bring that to the stage. What is God saying? What does he want to do in this gathering, in this meeting, right? Like how does he want to be loved? How does he want to be revered? How does he want us to be postured? All of that goes into it, man.
Yeah. That's so good. I mean, man, you're laying down like some real like foundational like order to worship, which is very apostolic. And I think there's like so much depth to what you're saying. And I think this is like what we really need to come back to in like the Western church. I love what you said also about like the ancient ways. Like there is an ancient way.
Yeah.
And like for some reason, somewhere, somehow we veered off.
Yeah.
And we found another way. But there is no other way.
There's no other way.
There's literally no other way.
There's no other way.
Yeah. So, okay, I want to pick your brain on this.
Okay.
Like where do you feel that worship is headed?
Yeah. So, you know, and this is like a bit of good news. I really believe worship is about to take a turn for the better. You know, there have been apostolic voices speaking about really what's coming to the earth in the place of worship, but it's also something that you know, I've really like been praying about. And I do think the climate and the culture of America is going to play a part in that.
Yeah.
Right. Typically revivals like to happen in the midst of calamity.
That's true.
And so like when you start talking about like revival in the worship like department, like you start to process, okay, like what does that look like? That looks like shakeups in the industries. That looks like certain people being removed from certain seats.
Right.
I'm not talking about like life or death. I don't know, but I'm more so speaking like what once was considered king or prime not being that anymore.
Right.
I do believe like we're gonna come into a place where worship isn't a nice to have. It's something that we must do to commune with the Lord, especially in our corporate gatherings. I remember when I first got filled with the Holy Spirit, and I really fell in love with worship. Worship wasn't um, worship wasn't just about putting on a track and singing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like worship quite literally saved my life.
Hmm.
There were times in the place of worship or in the times of just spending with God, I wasn't very articulate in prayer.
Mm.
Right. Thank God I decree and like I didn't have all of that cadence down, like
Yeah.
I couldn't spitfire the words quick enough. And I know it's not what prayer was about, but in my mind, I was a teenager at the time.
Mm.
I couldn't I feel like I was the most effective person in prayer,
Mm.
but I knew how to sing. I knew how to lift my hands.
Mm.
I knew how to cry,
Wow.
even if it was just a sound,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was still worship
Yeah.
to God because of where it was coming from.
Right.
Right. And so I think that what we're getting to is we're going to come to a place where worship literally reprieves
Mm.
not just like individuals, but it really just shifts and changes the minds and the hearts of people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're coming back to a point where worship has an impact more than just on the emotional level.
Wow.
Like that's really what I been praying about and seeing that worship, the impact of the like technology of worship and the relationship that happens in worship would be shown really in the church. So
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm kind of rambling. That's just kind of like my thoughts on it
Mm-hmm.
as far as where I think we're headed in worship.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I this was like not super long ago, maybe like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
God started to speak to me about worship. And he showed me a couple things. One, he showed me like the state of worship where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he showed me the thing we were talking about earlier in this episode of like there being kind of like a lull
Yeah.
in the worship movement, a little bit of a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
But then God began to show me two things. One, he showed me something coming out of Africa, and then he showed me something coming out of America,
Mm-hmm.
which that surprised me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, God's not done with America yet.
No.
God is not done with America.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting to me because what I do know about God, like I've walked with him enough and I've observed and studied, discerning the times and the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I know enough to know that when God releases a sound, there's a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually, and this is the apostolic component, he's actually announcing something
Yeah.
in the earth. And so because like you said, not every sound is the same.
Yeah.
There's different emotion in sound, there's different intensity in sound, there's different cultures captured
Mm-hmm.
in sound. And so then if you look at like what kinds of sounds are prominent,
Yeah.
you actually can discern some of what's going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
and in the midst of that, some of what God wants to do.
Yeah.
And what I love about like African worship is they're pretty big on like the intercessory aspect
Yes.
of prayer, which then bleeds over into the content and the sound of their worship,
Yeah.
which I love because that tells me that like God's actually about to like disseminate a culture of prayer
Mm-hmm.
through a sound
Yeah.
that he releases through a people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's like exciting to me.
That is, man.
Do you have thoughts about that?
Man, I mean, I have really agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Completely agree with you. And I think like the sound in America, like I said, like I think culture plays a big part of it.
Yeah.
The sound of America has been tied to grace, how you see me, your value. But I really just believe that the climate around is going to cause a different sound to be released from his people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the sound that's released is going to cause the posture to be corrected, right? Like the sound of Africa, I mean, one, the climate has a lot to do with it, but the posture is correct,
Mm-hmm.
right? The posture of sacrifice, the posture of recognizing he's Lord and actually living like it and acting like it.
Yeah.
Not just saying it with their lips, but doing it in their lifestyles, that posture is correct.
Yeah.
And so I think that generally, right? Like, I
Right.
think that in America, like the sound that's going to be forced to be released is going to help correct a posture that we kind of have been walking in for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then dream with me a little bit. Like, what would that look like?
Man, okay. What would a corrected posture look like? Well, one, I think I first want to talk about the gospel industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think it would get back to being about gospel.
Yeah.
Right? Like gospel always has such a powerful sound.
Yes.
You know, like me, I didn't grow up like Pentecostal, like churchy church. Um, but
Churchy church.
yeah, church. And I don't have too much depth on the history of the gospel sound, but what I do know about it is that the message one has definitely changed.
Mm.
The presentation of it has changed, and I don't think there's anything wrong with evolution if it's led by the Spirit. And so I think that, you know, the gospel industry will actually um, be revamped, will actually be the gospel industry once again, where the message and the word and the person of Jesus is being glorified greater.
Come on.
I think that's one posture that will be corrected.
Yeah.
I think songs will not be so us focused, will not be so horizontal, but will be more vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's songs where, and here's the thing, I think there's a place for them, right? Like there is a place for songs of encouragement.
Yeah.
You should be encouraged in your soul, right? Like,
Right.
but when that's become the focus, when that's like more songs than not,
Yeah.
then we've clearly, you know, put something else on the throne or someone else, and that someone else is us, right? So,
Yeah.
I think you'll start to see lyrics change. You'll start to see like people singing more vertically about who God is.
Come on.
And then, you know, you'll have and see more depth in the expression of who he is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the songs, personally, I listen to a lot of African worship. I mean, but the revelation that's sang from that comes from that country versus what comes from America is that it's almost like they're looking at God from two different vantage points.
Dude, I love this because you brought up a very good point. And I believe that like where we're about to go in worship can be encapsulated in this is like we're going to like a culture of encounter in worship.
Yeah.
Is like because that's what it is like when you encounter a God that's so real.
Yeah.
And you experience that aspect of him, you can't do anything else but worship.
Yeah.
Like when we're referencing like the angels surrounding the throne of God, the elders, like why are they saying holy? It's not, they're not saying holy and then they see something.
Yeah.
They see something and then they say holy.
Yeah.
So the encounter actually comes before worship. Like we can only worship to the degree of our encounter of God.
Right.
Like we can't worship beyond that because we don't know that God is that worthy.
Yeah.
Everything else is much more of like a declaration. It's like, okay, I believe like you are eternally worthy. That's all fine. But like for it to carry a substance, for it to carry who God is, it comes from an encounter.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, that's necessary. And so like, even when you're talking about like the gospel industry, that's not harsh, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the gospel industry, like, there is kind of that element of like, where is the encounter?
Yeah.
And you brought up a good point about like encouraging. You're like, yeah, there's a place in worship to feel encouraged. But what I've noticed in the worship movement is there's actually two kinds of encouragement. There's encouragement based off of empty platitudes. And then there's encouragement based off of the character of God.
Yeah.
And that to me is like an encounter.
Yes.
It's like, I want to feel encouraged because I know the truth of who God is encouraging me.
Yeah.
Not because this rhyme scheme got me hyped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying, man. You know, great music, affirmations, and masked as worship.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. It's true. It's like, no offense to anybody, but like in particular, but like we're very new age with that stuff.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we're doing everything they're doing, just masking it in Christian clothes
and stuff. Yeah. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, man. I think that. Well, I'm saying something. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Man, what were we talking about?
We're talking about encounter. We're talking about We're talking about like.
I know you can like cut things, so I wasn't tripping too much. But culture of encounter, yes. I would also say like encounter is like supposed to be a norm in worship.
Woo!
Like, part of worship shown biblically was like exchange.
That's right.
Like,
wow.
You could almost go into worship expecting God to respond.
Wow.
Right? Like based on the pattern of worship in the Old Testament and in the New Testament.
Come on.
Right? And so like, yes, I mean, I do believe like you worship anyway. Like let's say God doesn't rip the roof off the place that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, like that may not happen every single night where like
Sure.
tangibly he cracks the building open or starts throwing you around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but because, you know, we have access to the Holy Spirit,
Right.
in the way that God designed it, I mean, his response is supposed to be part of the process of worship.
That's so
Um,
powerful.
I know for me, sometimes like
Mm.
when I worship by myself or even lead worship, there are moments of like quietness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
And it's not because I've run out of things to say or run out of things
Mm.
to sing. Worship being as intimate as it is,
Yeah.
I want to give God a chance to respond to what I just gave to him,
Come
you
on.
know?
That's so good.
And I mean, because like it's worship is meant to be almost like the intimate moments with husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, you know, as men, it can get a little uncomfortable, right? But like,
Cut.
but it is supposed to be like that intimate, right? That closeness,
Mm.
by way of not just your lifestyle, but in the expression I'm going to give to you, and I'm going to give you a chance to give back to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that to me is another part that's missing in worship. And honestly, sometimes we rob ourselves
Mm.
as a culture by deeming, you know, the crying or just, you know,
Mm.
we're more satisfied with the music moving us
Mm.
than God actually moving us.
Mm-hmm.
And we rob ourselves of the fullness of an encounter with God
Yeah.
when we're pleased with that.
Yeah.
But that's been the standard. And so now we do focus more on sounds and
Mm-hmm.
things that can move your emotions, but not cause you to see God
Hmm.
the way that he's supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm singing as a worship leader, I'm bringing you a revelation that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you would catch that revelation.
Yeah.
Hopefully me spending time and being a leader means I've gone before.
Right.
And now as I come back and I say, hey, this is who God is,
Mm-hmm.
and this is who he is in your situation and your circumstance.
Yeah.
You cannot have an encounter, whether it is a form of deliverance and an emotional encounter, but also knowing that because I've seen him this way, he's going to be this way in my life. And because I've seen him this way, he's going to be this way in my family and my job. And now worship becomes a gateway for the expression of God to be revealed in many different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
So,
good. So I had a thought while you were talking, and I want to get your perspective as a worship director.
Yeah.
Because you're leading people now.
Mhm.
You're leading leaders, right? You're leading
Yes.
people who you lead people into the presence of God.
Yeah.
So, like, what you said that was so interesting to me was this idea of like performance.
Mhm.
Because it does come that like with the territory of like the worship spaces, like the pressure to get people somewhere.
Mhm.
And when that overtakes the desire to encounter God,
Yeah.
and that's not, I mean, they're not mutually exclusive, but there's an order,
Yeah.
right? And so I think when the orders are mixed up is when we get into performance. Is like I'm prioritizing the pressure to get a result
Yeah.
over to meet a person.
Yeah.
So as a worship director, what do you think about the culture of performance, and how do we address that? Like, because some of it's personal, right? But some of it's also corporate.
Yeah.
And some of it's even within the body.
Mhm.
Like, how do we create that kind of environment? How do we create that kind of team culture that makes it okay? Like, if God doesn't show up, our posture was good.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, okay, God didn't show up. Well, I'm not saying God didn't show up, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah, like for example, and part of it might even just go back to what you said earlier, and I'm just verbally processing, like, maybe they're not just living a lifestyle of worship.
Yeah.
So they have to perform.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, just go on that.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
Yeah.
'cause
No, I was.
thoughts.
That's a big part. I'm going to be talking to my worship team about that soon, because it's something that's really been on my heart. I'd say when we start talking about leading worship leaders and direct that's really like my deep burden, like building worship leaders. So as you started talking, I started like kind of like slowing down, getting even more comfortable. But what I would say to that one is, and my apostle said this to me publicly, like we worship the God first, and then to people. And so I went looking for that in scripture. And it's the same passage I've been stuck on in Second Chronicles. But when they were actually preparing the temple, the Bible says the inner priest prepared the Ark of the Covenant and then presented it to the outer priest, or the priests who were outside of the temple. Cool thing is now we're all priests.
This is so good.
And so now when you if you put it in this day and age where we're all now a kingdom of priests,
Come on.
a priesthood,
Yeah.
you can liken the inner priests to those who are called and assigned to tend to the ark, right? And that would be me, a worship leader. And this is in the context of a corporate body. If God says, hey, you are the worship leader of this place, we all have a responsibility to tend to the presence of God daily.
Yeah.
But my tending to the presence of God now contributes to how he's presented to the corporate body. You get what I'm saying? And so, as you're saying, performance, that thing kicks in when there has been no tending.
Right.
And so, what are you trying to present? There's no ark being brought.
Whew.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, for me, this is something, and God has like really gotten on me about it, and it's really, heightened me in my personal prayer and worship life as of late. I've had like a little personal revival because I said, God, like, wow, I'm not tending to your presence in the way that I need to lead a people.
Wow.
And so when we talk about that, I think a worship leader's first duty is tending to the presence of God, ministering unto him.
Jesus.
Making sure that making sure that this is structured properly.
Yes.
That does encompass preparation of your set list,
Right.
preparation of your songs, but also preparation of your spirit.
Yeah.
Talking and listening, fasting and praying.
Yeah.
And then from there, as we go into the corporate body and the corporate gathering, and I've been tending to him, I'm still tending to him. I'm just bringing the presentation in front of you all. And now from that, I think that's so cool. That was a cool picture that when that art came out and then they joined in unity, now you invite the people to come where you are, right? Like you're not ministering to them, but you're inviting them to join you in how you have sought the face of God, what God has said, what God has been speaking.
Yeah.
And that creates for a corporate encounter, right? And that's what they had, right? They had a corporate encounter.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to like the performance aspect thing as a worship leader, like firstly, performance he kicked out when you're tending to the ministry of God.
Come on.
Ministering unto him.
Yeah. Bro, I feel like you just gave everyone like a blueprint, like keys, like all the things we were talking about pertaining to the issues and like the things that we are like missing, all the dysfunction in the worship movement.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a way, there's a pattern.
There's a pattern.
Dude, that's so good, man. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Man, I hope a lot of worship leaders watch this episode. Like, I really do. So if you guys know worship leaders who like can really be blessed by this, like, please share this video with them. Like, if anything, so that they can feel encouraged and get on the wave of what God is doing in the worship movement. But also, there's a lot of like equipping in this episode. So go back and watch it again. Pull out all the revelations and keys, because there was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
Man, this is good. This is good. So, I mean, I don't know, like, let's try to land this thing.
Okay. It was getting fun.
Dude, you want to go deeper? Let's go deeper.
Yeah, let's keep talking.
But you help me out, because like I'm trying to like ask you questions and like direct the conversation.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not an expert. Like, I'm a worshiper. Like, I'm a worshiper.
Yeah. I mean, I don't deem to be an expert either, right? I don't deem to be an expert. But what I will say is that there is a way, right? Like, God, he's so kind. He loves to tell us how he likes to be loved. You don't have to guess with him, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And so like he shows us the pattern, shows us what he desires on an individual level and on a corporate level. And it does sadden me to see that sometimes in our worship culture, it's not time taken back to see if the pattern that we've created aligns with the pattern that he desires.
Wow.
Because ultimately, like, another thing about worship, man, it's literally like a game of satisfaction, right? And so
a game of satisfaction.
Like,
wow.
It's I bring you pleasure, you bring me pleasure, God.
Yeah.
Right. Not just in my song, but in my lifestyle. So, yeah, man, I guess that's a decent place to land, actually.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I can throw a curveball. You want me to throw a curveball?
Throw it.
I've actually wondered this. And I have a pretty good sense, because like, prophetic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I want you to like explore this more, because I feel like it could help a lot of people.
Okay, let's explore.
I've noticed this with worship leaders. it's not everyone across the board, but it's a trend that I see. They struggle with their senses and sensuality. They struggle with like the pride of being seen.
Yeah.
And I know some of that's celebrity culture, but I also believe some of it's like a function of design. It's almost like the devil's exploiting something that was meant to be good. Talk on that, because I want to help the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna actually say. I said it's literally the devil's scheme of exploitation. Worshipers and worship leaders,
Yeah.
in particular,
Yeah.
Are heightened typically,
Yes,
in their emotions, in their creativity,
yeah,
in their in their sensitivity, and in their sensuality. That's in their personality, and that's also in their sexuality, right?
Yeah.
You see a lot of worship leaders sometimes struggle with outward scandal, or some have dealt with homosexuality, right? That's an attack, but it's because worship leaders were designed for intimacy.
Yeah. Wow.
They were designed to be like, even though they were designed to be the ones closest to God.
Jesus.
And quite literally, I mean, the Levites would withhold themselves for an entire year for one day.
Jeez, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, yes, that was law, but that was a picture of,
yes,
I'm going to withhold myself and keep myself for the sake of your pleasure.
My God.
You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so worship leaders typically have a heightened sense of that.
Wow.
And typically that's why they struggle in those areas.
Yeah.
Because that's an aspect that's supposed to be given over to. They have the ability to articulate relationship with God differently than maybe somebody who's not necessarily called to lead worship. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
what?
Trying to find a way to say it. Like, worship leaders, being as sensitive that they are, there's revelation to the people that they can bring that maybe somebody else couldn't get.
Yes.
This is all part of just the creative makeup of a worship leader. And so
right.
I would say like that exploitation is tied to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally tied to the design, and it's so important to guard your eyes, guard your ears. That's why consecration is huge for worship leaders.
Wow.
Like, huge.
Dude, this is amazing because, like, obviously I know we're in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Which actually makes it even more of the case where we're all priests.
Yes.
But it really brings the emphasis of priesthood back to worship leaders. It's like we see a lot of worship leaders who are not priests.
Yeah.
But I think that's like what you're talking about right now is the importance of restoring the priesthood even among worship leaders.
Bingo. Like, because biblically, like, you won't see like worship leader technically, right? Like there were families that were assigned, that David had assigned, to govern over musicians, govern over gatekeepers. But then the last group was priests, right? Those were, considered like your worship leaders. And so it's more about priesthood than it is about being a worship leader. Like, diminishes quite literally your faculty to 20 minutes.
Wow.
Well, in my church, sometimes 40 minutes to an hour.
Facts.
But most
No
churches,
shade.
no shade. Most churches, 20, 25 minutes.
Wow.
Then I am only responsible for these people at this time. I have no other responsibility.
Oof.
But really, worship leading is supposed to be priesthood.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to clip that for the trailer.
Yeah.
That's so good. I wonder if we could like rebrand it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Worship priest. Is that weird? Everyone's a shit with a collar.
Priest leaders.
Priestly.
I don't know.
Musical
song.
priests.
I don't know. We got so many names today.
That's true.
That we took global pastor of client engagement and song selection. I don't know, man.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean, that's been more so what my conversation with the Lord has been about is, building me even more into, and it's like we're priests by salvation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that like you're not within the line, but I want to exude the characteristics of a priest.
Yeah.
Right. Like I want that, man. It's the same thing. Like, we're saved, we have the Spirit of God, but I want to exude the nature of Christ.
Come on.
Right. And so I my prayer is that worship leaders in America, would come to that place where it's important to look like Christ, and it's important to operate in the faculties of tending to the presence of God.
That's right.
Because that's what the entire life of the priest,
Yeah.
like for the most part,
Yeah.
to being pure, being holy, being in alignment
Yeah.
was quite literally for the handling of the presence of God,
That's right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so like how we value the presence of God, how we look at it, like
Yeah.
that's another conversation
Yes.
within, you know, worship leading and priesthood as well. So,
Yeah. And I mean, bro, like think about the Levites. They sacrificed their inheritance.
yeah.
They didn't get none.
Mm.
And that's part of what they're doing. So even their sacrifice is built into their function
It's built into their
among the
function.
tribes.
Yeah.
And then like what I love about priesthood is the corresponding responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've been so detached from responsibility
Yeah.
when it comes to title of any kind.
Yeah.
Like that should scare us a little bit, right?
It should. It definitely should. And you know, there's a psalm. It's in the 70s by Asaph. He actually writes about. It's like a contrast on responsibility to his duty as a Levite. Because I wondered. I said, God, did the Levites ever? Is there ever any record of a Levite that's like, hey, like I was born into this. I didn't necessarily say yes to this.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, what I get is a duty.
Yes.
Right? Like you can look at it like that.
Yeah.
But he basically says in the first half of the psalm, he's talking about just the state of his soul when he looks at the world. And he looks at the freedom that other nations have. He looks at how other people seem like they're prospering. They're doing better than him.
Yeah.
They have liberties that he doesn't. But then somewhere midway, he remembers that the presence and the glory of God is what makes all this worth it.
Wow.
And he ends up basically thanking God that he has access to him in that way that they don't. Wow. And not only that, but he knows the outcome because of the access that he has. Right? Like we give thanks to God. We bless God and we forget not his benefits.
Yeah.
And so there's two folds to who God is. It's like we get the reward of him and we get the reward of him.
Right. Exactly.
And so I think that like that's an aspect to be brought back as well to the American church for worship leaders is understanding that the reward of the presence of God is greater than any reward you can get.
Come on.
Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I have thoughts.
Yeah, say it.
I think that part of even in our culture in America, like one, the lack of demonstration that is allotted and moved in, right? And so we don't allow ourselves to see how great having the presence of God on the inside of us really is.
Yeah.
I mean, the presence of God is eternal.
Yes.
We have an eternal spirit that rests here.
Come on.
You know? And so one thing that you see in Africa and other cultures, right? Like you see a greater manifestation of the supernatural in tandem with the worship culture. There's a vastness and revelation of God that they have that we don't carry here.
Yeah. Right.
And so then we short ourselves, as I've said before. So definitely a prayer of mine that the value of the presence of God, the value of the person of the Holy Spirit is brought back to the worship leader and brought back to the worship culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's so good. I mean, it's almost like, you know, I pray this prayer to God many times. I always told God, I'm like, God, I never want to be the people's prophet.
Yeah.
I want to stay yours.
That's good.
Like, I never want to be put in a position where I have to bow to man and they want to hear. I want to always be in a position to say whatever it is you want to say. And I even feel that coming back to worship, right? It's that component.
Yeah.
And it starts with God and it ends up in the people, which is good. And that's where we have to understand that when we say we're a priest, priests are actually intercessors.
Yes.
They're the first intercessors. That's what they do. They mediate between heaven and earth. So then we even have to understand, like, we're priests. What does that mean? We're intercessors. What does that mean? That means I'm standing between two realms and I'm trying to be a bridge.
Yes.
That God can walk across and men can walk across and meet.
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way, you have to, and I think this is the tension that most creatives honestly struggle with.
Yeah.
Which is a tension between the spiritual and the material,
Mm.
the abstract and the concrete,
Yeah.
the God sourced and the human side of it, right?
Mhm.
It's like those are two realms, two different things, two different natures.
Yeah.
But if you're an intercessor in any way, if you're a priest in any way, you have to remain in the middle, right in the middle.
Yeah.
You can't abort one for the other.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've done, is like we've preferred appeasing man
Yes.
over being with God. But
Mhm.
then on the flip side, if you're a leader, you can't just go off by yourself into the
Right.
glory and leave everybody behind.
Right.
You're a terrible priest.
Terrible priest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely
Yeah.
twofold there. Man, what you said was so good.
Mm.
That really stirred me.
Mm.
Just talking about, because then we talk about like functioning below our faculty, like right, like
Yes.
and I think like that's, you were saying about how we've catered more to people pleasing than God pleasing, and going to God, and if we go into the glory, we leave the people.
Yes.
It's a very, 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 very delicate fine line.
Yeah.
And most of this conversation has been about the aspect of the worshiper and the worship leader from the person standpoint. What I mean by that is like excluding the fact that they have a gift, right? Because that's also part of what makes the worship leaders, that they have a gift, and part of that gift in singing and playing is that they can now express things that words can't.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I think just as much as important to tend to the people for the sake of understanding where they're at and what they need, that's why it's important to tend to God even more, right?
Yeah.
Like your gift and what you have with your voice and your sound can take people into places without a word being said, because
Yeah.
you're extracting something, right, from a different realm. So
Yes, bro.
yeah.
Can I give you a prophetic word?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just saw it right now while you were saying it, while you were speaking, bro. I literally saw you. Dude, this is crazy. Oh, this is crazy, because it actually makes that prophetic word make sense. So remember that prophetic word you have about being like an apostle of worship?
Yeah.
I just remember that after I got this word. So what I saw was this. I saw you literally on stage governing a worship service, but you were employing fivefold gifts who are worship leaders in order to accomplish the right things to get to the right place.
Wow.
Meaning, if you think about the fivefold graces, like only a pastor could shepherd a people.
Yeah.
And bring them together so that we can go somewhere together.
Yeah.
Like a prophet would be hard pressed to do something like that. They could, but it'll be rough.
Yeah.
They want to.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts.
But we understand that in an ecclesiological standpoint of church building church and things like that, or building the kingdom, right? Like in the church space. But within that, what if we applied that same like design and grace in terms of worship, where like, oh, okay, are the people struggling to like keep up? We need the pastor.
Yeah.
Hey, like you're a pastoral worship leader.
Yeah.
Bring us all together.
Yeah.
They lead into a song, and then okay, now we're ready to move on. Where's the prophet? I need a word.
Wow.
Bring us into the next dimension. I literally saw that, bro, for you. It's so crazy. I
That,
don't know if that makes sense, but
no, that man. We'll have to talk more off camera, but like,
yeah,
that makes so much sense to me. Wow. Well, one, I definitely received that.
Yeah.
Definitely received that. But that does make sense to me. And those graces are needed in any type of environment at times, depending upon what shows.
Yeah.
And so what you're describing is something that, like, if we're mindful of, and, you know, and mindful of partnering with the Holy Spirit, we can navigate more people to encounter.
Yes.
Which is really, I mean, what you want to do as a worship leader.
Right.
You want to try to navigate this space, this room into a place of alignment and encounter.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes that does mean pastoring, which means I may need to stop the song and give you the scripture behind this. I may need to speak to your soul right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is also could be the faculty of the prophet. Right. Like,
right.
I need to tell you what God is saying through this.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we're not just singing this for no reason. This is what God is speaking.
Yeah.
And I need you to latch on to it. Right. So many of those graces do show up in the place of worship.
Right.
And I definitely can see that growing and want that to grow where we are, you know, in our nation. Yeah.
That's
man.
So good. I'm glad we didn't land the plane early.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna miss out on all this.
I like froze for a second because I felt like I was starting to like like little downloads of things and
Uh-huh.
settle into kind of where this is going. So
on.
yeah, man, glad we
Yeah.
kept
Wrote that.
talking. Yeah,
Exactly. Me too, bro.
yeah,
Man, dude, this is really good. This has been really good. Man, we're gonna have to do like a part two. I feel like we could talk more about it because worship, like we said at the beginning, is it's eternal.
yeah,
It's an eternal ministry.
yeah,
Um, God, yeah. I mean, yeah, we could
yeah,
talk about forever.
yeah. We can do another one talking about like
Mm.
the tabernacles and temples and
Yes,
talk about the makeups and the builds to us.
would love that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
would
favorite
love to
things
get
talk
into
about.
that.
So
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, you know, normally we do a segment on the show called Dummy Moments.
yeah,
But we talked about it, and
I had my dummy moment. You had to go back to the last episode.
yeah, you gotta
Last
watch
one I
it.
was on.
Yeah, you gotta watch the last. He doesn't have a new dummy moment for us, which is okay. But instead, I'm gonna ask him to sing a song for us. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Be ready in and out of season.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I'm
so
totally
that's
kidding.
how
I'm
they
messing
say.
with you.
Lift your hands.
Oh no, but this has been so good, bro. Yeah.
Sing Gyra.
Gyra? No, you gotta sing Refiner.
No, last time my church sang that song, we all went through it.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. Some people didn't make it.
Yeah, some people make it through the fire. It's because the fire was.
I should be laughing at this.
Yeah, no, it's just you had to be there. You had to be there.
You had to be there. Awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
Thanks
man,
for pulling up. Yeah, no, this was a good episode. Guys, well, actually, no. Before we hop off, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah. Like on social media and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You can
tell them
find
your
me-
home address.
Yeah. You can find me on social media. It's my producer name, which is UB, which is EUBBYY. And then if you want to tune into our services, I am at Nova Hub Church under Apostle Jordan Bryce, and you can find him on YouTube, and that's where we live stream. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys were blessed. Share this with a worship leader. I definitely think this is going to be such an invaluable episode that you just can keep coming back to. We said a lot in here. We projected a lot out prophetically, even into the future. There's something God is doing with the worship movement. There's something fresh on the scene. So tap in. And I say this every episode. If you like this episode, I don't care if you hit the like button because that's not a metric I care about. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe because I want to make sure we're connected so we can keep doing this and you can be notified of the next video when it drops. I think we have a video every Monday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then we go live every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to pray together. And so definitely tap into that. And until next time, I love y'all. I'll see you guys next week. Stay with me. Same time, same place. Love y'all.